All right, welcome to the part 3 of the common resume and CV mistakes. So your resume or CV may have some mistakes, and here are some of the common ones. And if you fix them, you'll increase your chances at landing your next job interview. So in this video, I'll be covering the last 9 common mistakes many people make on their resume, and also show you how to fix them to vamp up your resume to the next level, and also give you some tips in between. And if you missed part 1 and 2, they're also available right here on YouTube. So I'm Professor Job Offer, and I've spent the last 10 years with a number of Forbes Global 2000 companies and have helped people land job interviews and job offers at companies like this. And I'm here to share with you my tips and tricks on landing your next job offer. So the next 9, starting off with number 15, the exaggerating abilities. Let's take a look at an example. Wow, this person seems to be an expert, a master, or fluent in pretty much everything. And to say that you're an expert in something means you have you have a lot of experience and you have very high qualifications in that. But in often cases, most people don't, actually. So instead of using the words like expert, master, fluent, or genius, or even a prodigy, you fix this by using some of these words, which don't overly exaggerate your abilities, to say you're competent in a certain skill set or you're qualified to perform certain duties and tasks and so on. So number 16, the lack of numbers. Well, I will also show you this with an example. And take a look at this individual. They lead with a verb, which is very nice, but we don't see any numbers on their resume. So I'm talking about the quantitative data, and you always want to include some relevant figures, especially the ones that highlight your achievements right on your resume. And you might be wondering, why do I even need numbers? Because it adds details to each of the bullet points that you're going to be including on your resume, and also numbers are absolute and they're comparable. To say that you managed a budget of $100,000 means you managed more than $50,000. They are absolute and they are comparable. And also numbers help to create impact and deliver results. And the solution here, if you are missing some numbers on your resume, start thinking about what kind of dollar value you worked with in your current or previous job, and any kind of percentage changes, or even quantity, like number of people that you worked with, or number of SKUs that you managed and such. And I actually have a little video called How to Use Resume and CV Action Verbs with examples, where I go through literally like line by line on which action verb you need to choose and what you need to relate that to, and how you can incorporate numbers to produce bullet points like this to create impact on your resume. So you might want to go take a look at that one. And number 17, the objectives statement. This is actually quite outdated. Maybe about 10 years ago, this was a must-have on your resume, but really not anymore. And it takes up quite a bit of space. It'll take up 2 to 3 lines of your precious white space on your resume. And the objective is pretty obvious if you're writing and submitting your resume, so you don't really need it. The solution, of course, you need a well-written summary instead of having an objective statement. And what I mean by a well-written summary is to highlight your skills, achievements, and other highlights in your work experiences that are very tailored to the position that you're applying for, and should be between 3 to 5 lines. And if you're wondering how to write a stunning resume summary, and I also show you some examples in that video to demonstrate what you need to include in the summary and how you should be structuring it. There's a couple different structures, and I show you some examples of stunning summaries like this, so you can produce your own. And the 18th common mistake is the length. You might be wondering, how long should a resume be? General rule, 1 page. Okay, if you have more than 10 years of experience, maximum 2 pages. Why? Because resume is just a summary of your experiences and your education. It's not your biography. And no half pages. Don't do like 1.5 page resume. All right, so solution here, of course, you're only extracting your relevant information, relevant experiences from your career, and including it on your resume to the job that you're applying for, and only highlighting the skills and experiences that are related to the position you're applying for. So 19th common mistake is the activities and interest section. This is also called the hobbies and interest section. I strongly recommend putting this on there, actually, because this demonstrates your diversity, what else you like to do and what else you have done outside of your work. And it also demonstrates that you're well-rounded. You might be talented in different areas, and also shows character. And lastly, it helps you to demonstrate some skills. For example, if you are part of an orchestra, or if you play on a sports team, then it helps demonstrate some level of teamwork as well. So, and if you don't have this, well, add an activities and intersection or a hobbies and intersection. So next, too general. A resume that is too general. Well, what do I mean? Well, going back to this example, look, let's just read a couple lines from there. This individual is responsible for receiving calls from customers or tasked with updating clients and connection status or use software to log customer feedback. Okay, that's great. So this is what you did. But as you can see, this individual is focusing too much on their responsibilities and duties and what they did on a daily basis. And it's really unclear of what kind of achievements or highlights they really have from their experience. And it's very broad, and it does lack detail, as mentioned in one of the previous points. And we're not sure what kind of skills this person has or what they have developed on their job, because it is just way too general and broad. So solution here, you want to use action verbs with numbers and add detail. So kind of going back to this same example here, you want to be able to choose the appropriate action verb and relate that to the task or the duty that you were responsible for, and relate it to a number to produce a very attractive bullet points that look something like this. And number 21, the 21st common mistake, I mean my. What do I mean by this? Well, if you don't know already, a resume or a CV is a business or professional writing, and for that reason, you should be excluding your personal pronouns. It's not a self-reflective essay. So a resume is an objective description of one's professional summary. So it's impersonal. You should not be including any kind of personal pronouns on there. And here's a quick grammar lesson for you. I found it online. Yeah, that's enough. Whatever you have, whatever there it is in that red highlighted box, it should not be on your resume. So solution, if you have them, just get rid of those personal pronouns, but instead replace them with action verbs. And that should be what's always leading each of your bullet points on your resume. And number 22, the common mistake. Your resume is not ATS optimized. The ATS. So you're like, what is the ATS? Well, it's actually an HR secret, because they will not tell you. And it's used by about 99% of Fortune 500 companies. And ATS stands for the Applicant Tracking System, and Applicant Tracking Software, Applicant Tracking System. And it's like a filter. And if you're wondering what a filter is, a filter is something that passes through a device to remove unwanted material. So let's apply this implication to what we're doing here with a resume. Your resume, or the candidate's resumes, will go through a device called the ATS to remove unwanted material or the unwanted candidates, so they can only extract the people they feel are relevant to the job. If you want to know more about the ATS, there's a whole video on that, so go check that out. But what I mean by that, a resume not being ATS optimized means it has one or more of these elements. You might have the wrong file extension, the ATS, the software, the system does not recognize, or you might be missing keywords that the position feels is critical to have in that role, or you might have too many images or graphics, which also the system doesn't recognize, or your design is too fancy, and so on. So the solution here, because there's so many things that can go wrong with this, I'll have a video soon about how to optimize your resume and CV for the ATS, for the Applicant Tracking System. And this brings us to the final point. The final common mistake is that an individual's resume may be difficult to read. Let me show you some examples. Oh, look at the font on this one, and wow, all the pretty colors. And what else here? The formatting seems a little bit off, and the font is also all over the place. So a number of different reasons why it may be difficult to read: the style and the size of the font, the headings, the spacing, colors, and so on. So the problems this creates is actually the fact that the reader loses interest quite quickly, and it's also very unprofessional to have something that is illegible or difficult to read. And lastly, it is also not ATS friendly, because the ATS may not recognize the font or the spacing that you're using. So the solution here, also because it may this will take some time to explain, I'll have a video soon about how to format your resume and CV so that you can get clean-cut formats like this that are both usable and recognized by the ATS, and that are also easy to read. So yeah, in this video I spoke quite quickly, but we covered 9 of the common mistakes, and I also showed you how to fix them and the solutions for each, and also gave you some tips along the way on building your resume and CV. Well, I'm Professor Job Offer, and I'm here to help you land your next job. Well, thanks for watching.